Madam Minister, Excellency, dear guests, everyone joining us virtually. It is my great pleasure to welcome you all to the presentation of the Estonia-Georgia Development Cooperation Strategy for years 2021 to 2024. Through this strategy, we are delighted to strengthen our strong partnership with the government of Georgia and the people of Georgia to help develop the country and improve the lives of its people. Allow me a brief personal interlude. We in the Foreign Ministry, of course, are delighted to visit foreign countries, but then there are some who really impress you and get under your skin. I recognize that this might be different for different people with different countries, but in my case, Georgia is one of those countries. It might be, of course, because I first visited Georgia in August 2008, and I'm still under those impressions. But this today, in that sense, is a very important event for us, many years on, where we can plan our future activities, how we will be helping Georgia in the future. Today's event is streamed via YouTube and Facebook, and the recording will remain publicly accessible after the event. Let me briefly introduce you the order of today's event. First, we will receive the statement from the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Estonia, Her Excellency Eva-Maria Liimets. Then His Excellency Ambassador Archil Karaulashvili, Ambassador of Georgia, I apologize, will address us. After him, Ms. Tiina Ilsen, Head of the Eastern Partnership Department at the Estonian Center for International Development. And then we'll have two pre-recorded speeches. But let me first go to Her Excellency Minister. Please, you have the floor.
Dear Ambassador Karaulashvili, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon everyone joining us online. It is my great pleasure to welcome you all and to announce that the Estonian Ministry of Foreign Affairs has adopted a new country strategy for Estonia-Georgia development cooperation in 2021 to 2024. Despite the geographical distance, the bond between Estonia and Georgia has always been a very special one. I find today's adoption of the development cooperation strategy very important for both Estonia and Georgia. We share a common history and want to walk on the same road of development. Therefore, Estonia contributes to and partners with Georgia where there is value added. A development partnership is the avenue where the greatest change can be created. Having restructured and widened the Estonian Center for Eastern Partnership to the International Center for Development Cooperation, the Eastern partners remain our political priority, including Georgia as a key partner. In our view, there is no alternative to Georgia's EU membership, and Estonia's development cooperation strategy supports your political choices. However, as true friends, we are also constructive partners providing support to the reform experience that we ourselves have gone through. Estonia is a keen supporter of Team Europe, and we want to partner with Georgia in this framework, using and sharing the best know-how that the EU has to offer. The Green and Health Team Europe initiative in Georgia is an excellent example of our joint efforts. Ladies and gentlemen, Estonia's four-year partnership strategy supports Georgia's development to increase its economic growth, to reduce poverty, and to improve the lives of Georgian people. Georgia has been a partner country for Estonian development cooperation since 2000 and a priority country since 2006. In recent years, Estonia has invested approximately €1 billion a year in Georgia's development. The new strategy will focus on four main areas: strengthening democratic state structures and systems, creating jobs through entrepreneurship, improving the quality of education, and increasing the focus on climate and the environment. Estonia currently implements projects related to fulfilling the entrepreneurial potential of youth, as well as education, good governance, and livelihoods. Estonia's aim is also to strengthen Georgia's private sector and support the government's aspirations that have been set up in Georgia's government program 2021-2024. Despite the fact that Georgia's economy has grown every year, the high unemployment rate, especially among young people, is worrying and has prevented the country from achieving its full potential. Therefore, helping the government to deal with these kinds of issues is a key focus also of our new country strategy. In support of the development goals, Estonia's bilateral development partnership mainly takes the form of capacity building projects, which transfer technical expertise based on the experience gained from the reforms of Estonia and its accession to the European Union. The projects are implemented primarily as a support measure for tailored technical cooperation, advice, and training. Dear friends and cooperation partners, in the future, we also aim for more cohesion between development cooperation and business diplomacy. Currently, some Estonian companies are active in Georgia in a non-profit setting in the framework of the development partnership. For example, the Estonian educational technology company Clanbeat is contributing to education reform in Georgia by concentrating on the psychological well-being of students. In a different domain, the technology company Timber, which uses artificial intelligence to measure timber wood, has an ongoing project with the Ministry of Environmental Protection and Agriculture of Georgia. Such business-to-government projects are highly welcomed, and we see a huge potential in that kind of partnership. Finally, as Estonia is known by its digital image, we see that this is the area where Estonia can also give its helping hand. Through digital solutions, we can help our partners to improve their ability to respond on future challenges in line with the European Union's regional multi-annual indicative program for the Eastern neighborhood under the NDICI instrument. Many thanks to all who contributed to development of this strategy, both in Tallinn and Tbilisi. I wish you lots of success in your endeavors and in implementation of the strategy. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Minister. Now it is my pleasure to give the floor to Ambassador of Georgia to Estonia, Mr. Archil Karaulashvili. Please, Excellency, the floor is yours.
Thank you, dear Yuri. Dear Minister, dear colleagues, first of all, I would like to express gratefulness to the government of Estonia for the outstanding political and practical support for being a vigorous advocate of Georgia's European and Euro-Atlantic aspirations, democratic development of my country, and of course the occupation issues. We are thankful that Georgia maintains the status of the priority partner country of Estonia in the development cooperation strategy for 2021-24. Estonia is a trustworthy and reliable friend of Georgia, and the present document, country strategy paper, is a vivid example of this friendship. Estonia's support is especially important at this time when Georgia's well-being and our European and Euro-Atlantic integration is challenged by, unfortunately, deteriorated security situation in the region, as well as COVID-19 pandemic. Thank you for this extensive bilateral package, which is fully in line with the reforms priorities of the government of Georgia, and in particular, governmental program for 2021-24, the name of which is Building a European State. Of course, it is also in line with the association agreement between Georgia and the European Union and the DCFTA as a particular part of this agreement. Estonia's experience is highly valuable for us, and especially in in two areas. First, this is digital transformation and ITC sector, and second is education. Now, why? Because in both these dimensions, Estonia is a leading country, not only in Europe, I could say, in the world. Your reforms, especially results achieved, the quality of education, of all levels of education in Estonia, is exemplary for us, and we are so grateful in sharing this experience. Of course, strengthening the democratic institutions and non-governmental support of the non-governmental sector, involvement of the non-governmental sector in reforms is also important. This is the way we've chosen. And experience of non-governmental sector, its expertise will add a great impetus to the European and Euro-Atlantic integration of Georgia, and of course, strengthening of democratic institutions in the country. Of course, entrepreneurship is also important, especially to address the vulnerable groups of the society, as well as to improve our readiness in implementation of DCFTA-related requirements, and of course, enhancing our export capabilities. And of course, green economy and climate. Environment has no borders. We have to, together with joint efforts, achieve some particular changes and revert these climate-related challenges, of course, for the sake of better future for the next generations. In general, Estonia's experience has a tremendous value for Georgia. First of all, because Estonia already gone through the way we are now on. And these are reforms related with the European and Euro-Atlantic integration, and we don't need to invite a bicycle. We already have Estonia's experience, and Estonia is ready to share with us this experience. We are so glad to have such an important and strategically friendly partner. Estonia, not only on a bilateral level, but also at multilateral level, and especially in EU-related programs and concrete projects, are sharing its experience. And with this, I would like to mention EU twinning programs. Of course, there are some already finalized one. There are a number of twinning programs that are online in pipeline right now. Estonia is participant of 5 EU twinning program. Of course, there are some TAIEX related activities as well. Of course, there is also Estonia's participation in EUMM mission. So Estonia's assistance is not only about bilateral cooperation, it's much wider, and we are, of course, grateful for this as well. As I was working on EU integration issues for quite some time, and I was coordinator of the EU integration-related assistance, so I know how complex is, in general, assistance-related issue. And having this in mind, I would like to praise Estonian colleagues for creating such a well-focused, well-planned, well-coordinated document. And of course, I would like to express all my readiness to cooperate with you in its implementation. And finally, I would like to underline the irreversible nature of the process of Georgia's European and Euro-Atlantic integration, which is supported by numerous legal acts, and most importantly, by the Constitution of our country, outlining that Georgia's goal is exactly integration into the European Union and NATO. I hope this assistance will help us to reunite into the family of the free and democratic European nations. Today is an important day as it is Eastern Partnership Summit in Brussels. Let's hope together for good results of the summit, as well as peaceful and prosperous future for all participant states. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Excellency, for this view from the partner side. Now it is an honor for me to offer the floor to Ms. Tiina Ilsen, Head of the Eastern Partnership Department at the Estonian Center for International Development. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, and thank you for the opportunity to be a part of this event from our center side. Indeed, as was said many times, and I very much liked the personal touch with Yuri's opening. I have many similar stories I would like to share, but let me just say that, yes, we in Estonian Center have always felt that we are privileged to offer our experiences to Georgia. And it's not only because of our friendship and our mutual understanding of democratic futures and democratic reforms and EU integration, but it's also worth so much more than you can work with people who actually want to have a change, who want to implement reforms, even if they are really difficult, and even if sometimes it causes a lot of extra effort to explain the reform and the importance of changes in the society to the public. From the practitioner side of our center, we operate on the needs-based principle, meaning that when Georgian side turns to us and says, these are the areas we would like to have Estonian involvement, Estonian expertise, Estonian lessons learned, because one of the main points we always implement in our work is indeed not to hide back things also what did not work in Estonia in our reform processes, and how we solved them, and what was needed to perhaps have a different take on some of the paths we've taken earlier. It's important to have a partner and a friend who really wants to work with you, and who understands that their agenda is our agenda in many ways. The way we've built the work is that on the two main pillars, I would say, and one is what we call specialist to specialist. It's a more personalized version, perhaps, of the twinning approach, meaning that our practitioners of the concrete area work with Georgian colleagues in reform development, but also in development of concrete action plans on different areas, being tax reform or legislation on violence against women, for instance. And the second pillar we've built our work on is working outside the capitals. I mean, this is one of the lessons in Estonia we have, that until issues, life improves in the countryside, out in the villages, in grassroots level, we can't really talk about the profound change in the country's overall course. And therefore, we have a very I would say, practical long-term program for Georgian local governments, together with our local governments and specialists from there, indeed to strengthen the communities, local communities in Georgia, create more jobs with the cooperation of local municipalities and the private sector, and overall work together and help Georgia to have better life in the regions, so that people would not want to leave and all only live in the capitals. With this path, we hope to continue. We are very happy to be an instrument for the implementation of the strategy, which we are here today to present from the Minister of Foreign Affairs. This is something I think sums up the priorities, also based on our experience. And in terms of the future steps, we hope that our work can indeed contribute to the implementation of the strategy in a very practical and personal way. We have built the relationship both professionally and between people in Georgia. So in terms of New areas we would like to focus in also was mentioned here, of course, the inclusion of the digital solutions. This is our reality and it becomes more and more also Georgian reality. I'm also very happy to tell you that in many other countries we work, we've already been asked for Georgian expertise and lessons learned in terms of implementation of some of the digital tools, for instance, in the local government work. So this experience which is shared now by us, I'm quite sure that very soon we can use Georgian experience in other countries on this matter. So cooperation will continue, friendship will continue, and as the song goes, Georgia will always be on our minds. Thank you.
Thank you, Tiina. Now we will connect to Georgia itself. First, via two pre-recorded statements, and first one is our ambassador on location, Her Excellency Riina Kaljurand.
Dear Minister, dear Ambassador, dear colleagues and partners in Tallinn and Tbilisi, may I join the Minister in truly welcoming the adoption of the new country strategy for Estonian-Georgian development cooperation for the next 4 years. I'm happy that Georgia continues to be the priority country when it comes to development cooperation, as it has been for the past 15 years. Even if our support in monetary terms may not be huge, the contribution of €1 million annually puts us on the respectable 8th place of all the donors in Georgia providing grants. And I'm not wrong to say that Estonian programs and actions have left a solid mark and have contributed to the development of Georgia and the benefit of its citizens a great deal. During my time as ambassador of Estonia to Georgia, I have witnessed a true change in the educational system and educators' mindset. We have promoted the true potential of Georgia's educators and empowered students with innovative, child-centered educational programs. We have revised and updated the school curriculum of general education and ensured its implementation. As a result, Estonian teaching and learning principles and know-how now serve more than 115 schools in Georgia. We have supported the creative ecosystems and the development of rural and conflict-affected areas through introducing creative startup accelerators and SME support programs. We have supported social entrepreneurship and helped to develop production and marketing channels for community accommodation, education and employment of persons with psychosocial needs in Ghassan. We have empowered victims of domestic violence in Tbilisi and regions by encouraging women's financial independence and awareness raising of professionals, state and non-state actors working on the field. We have marked our strong stance against child violence and supported the cause of initiating a Partnerhus child center that will serve Eastern Georgia. We have introduced digital innovation in the forestry sector, e-governance, and supported the democratic state structures. These and many other actions are not just initiatives on the paper, but also deliver real results. I'm glad that the priorities of Estonian development cooperation in Georgia for coming years will remain the same, enabling us to continue with what we have started, to uphold our achievements and to go deeper in certain areas. All these areas of cooperation are in accordance with the association agreement between European Union and Georgia and represent the areas where Estonia can truly provide added value. From the embassy's perspective, the most important task for us is to find the right partners, the best ones, who are dedicated to drive a change and reach the goals. So far, we have really been lucky with our partners, excellent partners, to mention just some of them. The Donor Coordination Unit of the Government of Georgia, the Ministry of Education and Science, the whole UNICEF Georgia team under great leadership of Dr. Ghassan Khalil, the EU, USAID and Norwegian government, and the other like-minded governments. Last but not the least, also the Estonian Center for International Development Cooperation, and of course the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Estonia. So thank you, and I wish us all a lot of patience and dedication to reach our goals.
Thank you, Ambassador Kaljurand. And to follow it up also on content, the next statement will be from the representative of UNICEF in Georgia, Mr. Ghassan Khalil. With UNICEF, we are running a very big cooperation project in the education field.
Excellencies, dear Minister, dear ambassadors, I'm honored today to join you on the occasion of the adoption of the country strategy for the cooperation between Estonia and Georgia. UNICEF has been cooperating for several years with the Ministry of Education and Science of Georgia and with the government of Estonia to support and to promote educational rights of children in Georgia. I would like to thank very much the great support of Ambassador Kaljurand and the whole team of the embassy in Tbilisi. The support provided by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Estonia has been great in achieving tangible results for the educational life of children. The project started with Model 15 schools, where the teachers, the principals, learned the Estonian way of teaching, and children enjoyed the Estonian way of learning. The 15 schools proved a great success, and that's why, with generous support from the government of Estonia and with excellent cooperation with the Ministry of Education and Science of Georgia and the support which is always provided by UNICEF, we were able to renew and to strengthen the partnership to add 100 schools to the existing 15 schools. And the concept is that teachers and principals who benefited in those 15 schools would transfer their knowledge, skills, and competences to other teachers in other schools in other areas of Georgia. This is the effect of snowball, which will further strengthen a positive, constructive educational environment at schools. At the same time, thanks to the support of Estonia, curricula have been reviewed and curricula have been improved in order to make sure that professionals do have a child rights-based approach to education. And children need this child rights-based approach, especially that Article 29 of the Convention on the Rights of the Child, ratified by Estonia and by Georgia, stipulates that the main objective of education should be the development of the personality of the child. Education in Estonia is very much child rights based. It also highlights the global comparative advantage of education, and it adds a lot of value to students so they can become competitive, they can be competitive in the global market. And the same in Georgia should also happen, and this is the support which is taking place. In brief, I would say that the partnership and the exchange happening between Georgia and Estonia with the support of UNICEF has been extremely useful to children, and we hope with the expansion to new areas, new schools, and more children of Georgia, this support will bring more results, and children will benefit, and the whole educational system will improve.
My gratitude goes also to UNICEF for this statement. We now come back to the online world, and to conclude, we will receive a statement from the acting head of Donor Coordination Unit, Ms. Kettevan Saakashvili. She's joining us virtually from Tbilisi, I understand. Please, the floor is yours.
Yes. Thank you very much, Your Excellency, ambassadors and representatives, ladies and gentlemen. It is an honor for me to have a chance to attend the meeting and to have an opportunity to address the respected participants of today's event. I'm glad to have a chance to briefly speak about Estonian-Georgian long partnership in light of the development cooperation. Despite the mentioned unwavering political support throughout the years, we witnessed enormous support through development cooperation projects directed to strengthening democratic institutions, improving the quality of education, supporting entrepreneurship, gender equality, and many more. Once again, on behalf of the administration of the government, let me express our gratitude for your continued support and for having Georgia in the list of largest recipients of Estonia's bilateral aid, benefiting from strengthening of public institutions, support for regional development, which are among the top priorities of the Georgian government. And we are glad to see these topics in the new strategy too. The second strategic objective, improving the quality of education, another milestone in contemporary challenges, especially in the new reality caused by the pandemic. Almost 2 years have passed since the outbreak of the COVID-19 crisis that had this huge impact on the sphere of education, equally influencing the school children as well as students. The crisis has shown the need of adapting the educational system to the new realities, not only through solving technological problems, but also adapting the teaching methodology to achieve greater efficiency. As there has been mentioned already, thank you so much for adopting the curriculums and for your valuable experience in this sphere. And also here I would grab the chance and thank also the UNICEF for its hard work in developing this sphere. Supporting the development of small businesses, yet another direction mentioned in your strategy, largely meets the needs and broader goals of the government of Georgia. As you might know, Georgia has recently adopted SME development strategy in 2021-2025, which aims to promote the further development of small and medium enterprises through refining legislation, improving access to finance for SMEs, information technology, promoting the development of women entrepreneurship in SMEs, and etc. Of course, all these ambitious goals have the list of needs to be covered, which we hope to accomplish with the support of our dear partners, and of course with your support. Also, I would like to emphasize the fourth priority, which is the climate change. This sphere, which is one of the long-term goals for the government of Georgia, which has elaborated climate change strategy 2030. Currently implementing through the Action Plan 2021-2023, defining the main objectives such as reducing greenhouse gas emissions from transport, from energy generation, support development of low carbon approaches in the building sector, agriculture, as well as waste sector. All these targets require adequate response and awareness rising through various programs and platforms. Here we also see the space for discussion and we'll be glad to hear your experience too. Having on the table the country strategy for the following years allows us to continue our cooperation uninterruptedly in many strategically important areas. On our side, the Donor Coordination Unit as a central coordinating body confirms readiness to facilitate the process wherever and whenever needed. As you might be aware, we have thematic coordination group meeting cycle every year, the aim of which is to communicate and conduct strategic dialogue with donors for harmonization of external aid with the straight priorities, avoiding overlapping and duplication as much as possible. However, we stand ready to conduct also bilateral dialogues when the need of such format arises and are always ready for further cooperation. Once again, I reiterate my deep gratitude for having an opportunity to participate in this meeting and for your usual and constant support. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Saakashvili. On my own behalf, if I come back to what I started from the burning fields near Gori in August 2008, and I still vividly recall the smell. We have come far, very far, but there is still a long distance to go. So I wish Georgia all the luck and perseverance that is needed, and we will be there to support you. Thank you all for being part of this virtual event.